ban mong dan continue ban wa mon nam ta kon mo la lar ke one ne nga ke te ke to ke gwan dar wa mi nyu ge ni ram te ke diar yang ko do do la ne on kon tin ke chak ke ko bai ke chak nak đó te le ok rom gwan gwan diar wala ja go re yen be de yen che de nywa ge ni che ja no ge de yen nywa ko đi cô đi bi nhìn cái dân bi nhìn cái chăm lo là bà nhà nào là trâu rồi yeah thế đi ban đầu cái rồi guam guam pe con thì mình ăn pe con không lại cho nó mock fight the mock fight mock fight ở cô là ter cái điết gan uni cái này mình có cô là bỏ tay cho lấy rồi là rồi đó lát cái mấy chào tôi là gan mấy chiều có to cái gari chỉ em đi này chỉ vui chả có năng đuôi bữa mến cái này uni bị uriam cô là mà là bút được tin bé uni rồi coi uni có cái mến cái tết kiện cái mến dân cái này cái nó môi cái gần này là uni đã cái thế là uni môi bỏ trong ngoan cái là cả vô vậy cô là mới cho là mock fight so let's go to it. After the cutting, the ceremony mock fight took place between the father and the mothers. Women were allowed to carry clubs, known as ketni, while the men defend themselves with their bare hands. This was the ritual performance connected with the celebration and the boy transitional into manhood. Chẳng mọi chẳng ara kadal kaman again. Each initiated wore a piece of sheep skin over his head. The covering might be taken from the back section of the married woman traditional garment and given special for this purpose. No one was supposed to inspect the fresh cut before the hill. Nevertheless, the boy might privately allow trusted friends to see them. The clotted blood was left undisturbed for several days before the wounds were carefully washed. Yeah, one more milatwag, which dolu, which got, which got here would will. And then Irun ki mola bendera, which walk in she could huge. Can already shaka moika katula jolly comni. Kumumo, Mila come on board. Cô đem bó đấy cái cái lòng ấy là gì cái đấy yết mà là pan mà là vô là mình đàn vô là giọt này ấy dân cái giá thì cái đồng bài tôm ba gửi ba trắc cái gói chỉ cái cung cái rùi đó cung cái gì this is something given you cannot dodge it you cannot cover your head with piece of colors no you have to use that one because it has got a point in your culture. Keep it clean over the head, covering might take from back of the section of the married woman. Traditional garment and given special for this purpose, especially that purpose alone. No one was supposed to inspect the fray cut before they heal. Nevertheless, the boy might be privately allow the trusted friend to see them. The cloud blurred and was left undisturbed for several days before the wound was healed. Lolo doli cha ko bijut ko ba ko gwilen ra mong hap ke ajala be kudiena ko ngot ka bay bot ka visitor da gwel ne ko la na do gwel ga visitors and the recovery period. During the healing period, the initial remain in the center attention. Visitors approached the village were met at the distance and the name were announced before they were permitted to come near. This persecution was intended to protect the recovery boy from the evil eye. Mite ka na ti tu kwai ki ti bi ben gol. Na e to ba chut ken ba ko lat ken nyam. Lu ka ni di gor go bu ben ki ye ko ne bo de to lo ko ke no re. Ko la ka na di u ti ke nga de te ke pe te ke pet me dong de ke. Ni de ke cham, this is the point. Nore were very careful about evil eye, I mean. The man was separated from the initial and especially the food was prepared to help him again his strength. He was treated as the honored person because he had bravely endured the ride and entered the new stage of life. Now the boy will be a new stage. One more, Babu Guru, Ticham can Ticham can. Oh, she have been staying again. The boy was not permitted to return among the cattle till his wound had healed. Cha ka bin do gu bi ore o ki amano war ki ran bi doin ne bi doin ja ka ko lo ka nen ba ka lao re o ka ki bot ke ne ki go cha te la lat ki cha ko la. When asked directly whether the wound were healed, he may answer not yet. Even after recovery, he avoided publicly declaration that he was well because someone posing the evil eye may hear him. Yeah, people could determine his condition directly by asking whether he had returned to the cattle. If he had not, the wound was still pain. If he had returned, the scare were understood to have ill. Give to the cattle. Mutila Kamurame Muga. After recovering, Mickey Durup can go. The boy presented gift to the man who had cut his mark. Close respect relationship could develop between the initial and the expert cutter. Customer number of cutting was 6. The source account also mentioned occasionally 7 cut. Gargaran ten club with all gardang bakel. Tang kon they la take a ram take a guard borrow and why. But this practice required further explanation because it was not the ordinary new partner. The reason given concerned Brother Bone to be the same father and mother, and the arrangement of the initial. This was details should be preserved as the particular family or local condition rather than presentation as the rule followed by every Nuer community. This rule for 7 cut God to Garaka Kel, God did wood kel, did kel. And then Micha Garden did. Me Garka Jacob got a taught Bell Araba Garkel. A guadu burn mo go to jay, don't key and trade the chab and Gajagua. Bagan did, Bagan taught by Moika guard and borrow. Restriction during healing. A pregnant woman was not permitted to approach the initial until his wound had healed. A man whose wife was pregnant may also be affected to keep a distance. So, Lulu got me, Rame, check Muret, check, wood Muret, check the charge away. Could chat negotiate. These restrictions were part of traditional belief govern the vulnerable pregnant blood and health. After receiving this mark, the young man did not immediately resume wearing an ordinary bead necklace around his neck. Bean could instead be worn around the waist or cross of the shoulder, and vein is the opposite arm. Such a decoration may be worn for several months. A neckline may made from the drop hair could also be worn. That was all time. That was all time ago. Meaning of tribal mark. I want to look at it. The ceremony changed the initial social position. It was no longer regarding merely as the boy. He had entirely entered the manhood and become a member of the name Asat. After receiving the mark, he could attend the dance. After the boy received the mark, the says mark on his forehead, he should be allowed to do such a thing. He could attend the dance of initial young man. He could publicly carry his spear, club, or other recognized weapon. He received the privilege, responsibility of a manhood. He could exercise the authority over the boy who had not yet been marked. His sister and younger relative were expected to treat him with greater respect. He gained the boy in certain family and community affairs. He was still required to show defenseman initial before him. The courage and self-control displayed by the initial were deeply admired. The ordeal was painful, but the endurance without movement or compliant demonstrated discipline, bravery, and readiness to accept adult responsibility. Even though young baker can board bagarut, Chabi George take a may nagakoyan, a shubo world of man, where a man can endure something, you have to take care of it by yourself, not to cry, not to do, not to show a sign of fear or upgrade. Continuity and change. The outside observer who witnessed the ceremony during the early 20th century wonder how long the custom would continue. At this time, many believed that it would endure for as long as Nuer identity itself continued. During the later generation, however, education, Christianity, migration, change, medical knowledge, warfare, and new social conditions contribute to the decline of the head cutting. Many new boys now enter the adult life without receiving the traditional mark. Why? What caused it? Let me read it. See the cause in Jack con Kaja God Ko Chaga Bugar. Tell her make right ngak, tell her which which are dolphin, and which are Nabugar baby, no ngak to tea. Minyam den the dual gora, which God you gar. Rode, she now another called Christianity. During migration, coach now with Winnie, Dory, Richie, and Tela now the Gargatin now camney. Thì cha gari cha lao ke cha le gor dong da ra yen ko wi ka mo te de den wi gor che da gar nen wo gi tong changing medical knowledge men de den wo cha na te ka ngai ngwa ne ko ku ko duel wal ke ga let te la nyen loga te la lo ka na duel wal ke te la ngai ke de den warfare chen ko hotel pal pin bo ga mi ñu na ka pal na pin ko de sherle char ka ba do gar and the new social condition contribute to the decline of the forehead cutting kan chiang ti ti pai ben chi ke gar ja go je ne below down ke cha do lu gar ko ku che da very important long ka ke chi ngwa ko ken ti gur ke no bu ga latin chi ti pai ko en chi ke George. The disappearance of physical mark does not necessarily mean the disappearing of the age set system. And we can have girl chelunu ne birich till I can don't big tell class name ke should not ke should gare generation identity seniority turn on bag min bang in and then chiang did companionships and collective memory might continue even when a member are no longer physically marked. Ngak to typical one them I can garbo. The difference in the original draft to the proposal name Tognyim generation should therefore be examined separately in the next section. It did mean the territorial use and relationship to the established new class name system must be clearly explained before it is accepted as the general generation name. Therefore, the name which is being created by Let Your Dream organization, it just come out to name the new generation which does not have a cut to be called Tongim generation. Tongim generation are the people who are now fighting or fought some years back or years ago, and they are still fighting. They are not marked like before or like now I'm talking. So they still, we'll call them doll. For this reason, they need to be considered as Songim because they have lower teeth, all of them. This should be the name. There's no gare, me bala gare ke so ku kimo. Uh, bane talk ke kwan metore me kwan quantin, and then the permanent edit version of section 1 is now complete. This section 1 is complete. Ke wak karau. Menyam den che kon paraga mendan. Kwan ele ben talk come like you are mocking fighting. There wak la cassette kel, but she computer she door ben talk. Je ko to rajin la ne ne. Itu gwandiar. Ko technology chara ko gwandiar la ya tu ko door mo ken ni chat. Be yo ngok der go mo ken ni la tin jen gwander ra di sok. Te me che ka se me che ja ko bet ke gwadang ro. Tu gul. Ko ku mo jen ta na de je bat bi ra mo ko len ko mo go je ke mo no ko. Jen ta na ni ki talk. So te di in chapter 1 en kwen kon ko chi men cha la ro na o jen ta kon ke 10 chapter reina maka thế thì chắc qua đi chăm trở quan đâu chắc là chôn cái trường học kiền ban năng lỗ quên rồi bọc này xem nó điền luôn luônถ้า complete cha complete the purpose next section is the next section should be section 2 which has been titled Nuer class name and the organization of the age set. The section should begin with how an HSAT received its name, the differences between local initiation group and the wider generation, and the chronological list of the recognized Nuer class name. I do my best. This is how I can help my generation, my young generation to have some clue about the background of the Nuer culture or Nuer custom. I do them both as long as I open the Let Your Dream is concerned about all the Nuer progress. Kukujimo Mongdan Bepek, one of the guardian, very important. Kujan knew that the Kuinarang knew that the Kamuda can check, knew that the Kamdu and a bar and a young, yen a yam yam, yen a jalab, yen a boy, yen a linglit. Then Lara Jib before Kiro to call Lara on her. Soon Chagar, Dang Pakel Chakan and Yamdo, tell her I'm busy in a beanie. Menyam de jin Sudan dio raude a jin Jinup ngwan dien a jin Africa e mak modunu jen chepit ko kon kel cha kon ngai ke ju mo te di babera long ko that generation ko chu ka del mang du nyo the ken no re they will be jai like other Jew. Ko te la kanor mi cha la point de no bi nyo to ken no re ngo de ba ken te la ka gar ka te la ka ta ka late ping here they can those silly questions that have been asked by anybody who want to know should be asked to you. Before that it was not, they were not asking. Even in Sudan itself, it is a passport by itself. When you got this mark, nobody can ask you where do you come from, what do you want, and which tribe are you now. So by now we should be the same like other people who have lower teeth. We have lower teeth. Who doesn't have mark on their forehead? We don't have a mark on our forehead. Kukimo, jentaden. Ani bane palaka hiraidan jetok. I'm taking a question, I just think I'm here to help or to reply. If I didn't get it, you will go and get it somewhere. Thank you. Unbelievable. Would me dog by which Chakawa Mala. Nas Kendi Al Mala.